I'm gonna work on my garden this evening while it's still sunny. I'm gonna have some peroxide for my plum tree. I'm gonna wash it off because it has some canker, something growing on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just dilute this. This has about this much in it, so I'm gonna double that up with water and heading out into the garden to get some work done. Saw me earlier picking cilantro from my garden. So for cilantro, what I do is chop them up real small, and I'm gonna freeze them into ice cubes. So when I need them for my curries, I will be able to just pop one of those into the dish. I don't know what's easier, if I chop it by hand or if I get out my food processor. I think I'm just gonna chop it by hand. You just keep chopping until you don't see any more big pieces like this one. That's good enough for me. I'm gonna get the ice cube tray, and I'll try to put a tablespoon in each of these cubes. and cover these with water, because that way they're not gonna get freezer burned. And you always need water for your curry anyway. Want to make sure they're covered nicely. I'm gonna freeze these, and then once they froze, I'm gonna pop them out and put them in a Ziploc bag, a freezer bag, and that way it's just gonna be taking up less space, plus it's easier to use it when it's needed to be and it's covered. The next thing I'm gonna work on is dehydrating the parsley that I picked earlier from my garden. And the reason why I dehydrate the parsley is because the way I use it in dishes, and that's the best way to store it in less space. The cilantro I freeze because I tend to find that the dried cilantro loses flavor, versus the dry parsley retains the flavor, interestingly. So I have my dehydrator trays, and I made these liners from parchment paper that I keep reusing. I wash them when they get dirty, and this allows me to dry herbs so they won't fall through the cracks. You can also buy inserts that have small holes in it, but I'm too cheap, so here we go. And all I do for the parsley is to take the leaves off from the stem. I try not to have lots of stems. Again, the cilantro is different because cilantro actually has good flavor in the smaller stems, versus for the parsley I don't really want stems. So this will take a little bit longer to make sure that I only have the leaves drying. I finished filling all my drying trays, all 6 of them, and I'm gonna plug the dehydrator in the basement because it's gonna run all night and I don't want to hear it, although it's pretty quiet. But this suggests that we do herbs on 95 degrees Fahrenheit, 35 Celsius, but I like to do it higher because if you do it on 95, it will take you weeks probably. It just doesn't do anything, it seems like. So I do it on 115 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 46 Celsius, and that should be done overnight. So we'll see you back tomorrow. The parsley is done dehydrating, so I'm gonna empty my trays into this baking sheet. And then I'm gonna crunch all this up. And now I'm gonna take out anything that didn't crunch up because maybe there's slight wetness in there. And the bigger stems at least. Or I can sieve this through a strainer. Something that has big holes. think this one is a little bit wet somehow. It might have got caught in between the trays. And then I get rid of some of these bigger pieces that just don't want to break up. And I store my parsley in the jar, but the last time I dried this, still have some. So what I'm gonna do is dump that out, put the fresh one on the bottom, like that, and I put back the old batch so I can use that first. This way I don't have to have two jars going, and it will fit, hopefully. But you can tell the difference in color. The other have bleached a little bit just being in this jar. Even though they're in the cupboard, I guess it gets some light. Enjoy!